All right, here's video 4. This is the given the area problems. We're going to derive the sine area formula for a triangle, and I'm going to zoom out, give you an idea of what's going on here. I'm going to start speeding up. I'm not going to explain too much of the algebra. I'm going to try to get away from that after this video, maybe. I'll later do a video on deriving the law of sines and deriving the law of cosines. Maybe I'll take a screenshot of them so you can see them, because once you see how it works, it's pretty easy. So let's go to open up. I think this is the zoom in to video 4. All right, we're going to derive the law of sines. I'm sorry. Here we go, video 4. We're going to derive the sine area formula for a triangle. It's very, very good to know, because especially if you're going to take an exam or you're doing any kind of breakdown of a triangle, it's less to get more accurate, less steps, and much easier and faster. So this is the initial formula. 1/2 of b times h is equal to the area. So we're going to derive the sine area formula for a triangle, which is 1/2 bc times the sine of a is equal to the area. Okay, so the way this works is it's kind of an introduction to substitution. I'm not sure we did any in the previous, but it's going to start playing a big role. So you have to know that if sine of a is equal to h over c, then you can solve for h, right? So in this case, sine of a is equal to h over c, and to get h by itself, we're going to take c, put it multiply it by c on each side, gets rid of it on this side, end up with c times sine of a is equal to h. So we can replace or substitute h with sine of c times sine of a, and there you go. So is equal to h. So now, if we know that 1/2 of b times h is equal to the area, and we can substitute h with c times the sine of a, that leaves us with 1/2 of b times c times sine of a. We just replaced h is equal to the area. So our formula looks like 1/2 of b times c times sine of a is equal to the area. And that's it. That's how you derive the formula. So we're looking pretty good. I'm going to just do a couple screenshots, maybe briefly explain how to derive the law of cosines, because it plays into knowing how will help a lot when you get into some of the next videos. So it starts out with the Pythagorean Theorem. So b squared minus h squared is equal to x squared. You know, we're deriving that h again. And then a squared minus h squared is equal to c minus x squared. You have to keep the c minus x in parentheses. And then, so what we'll do is we have h in each one of those. We're going to get each side to h squared. And this one we're going to solve for h squared just by moving a little bit of algebra. And then if each one of those is equal to h squared, they're equal to each other. So that's what we've done right here. So the x squared minus b squared is equal to c minus x squared minus a squared. And then you just start doing the algebra. The goal is to get x by itself. And so we're starting to do that. Once that c minus x squared is by itself, you have to expand that. Then we end up with x squared on both sides. So plus x squared, well, they cancel each other out. So if you minus x squared here and minus x squared here, this one goes away and this one goes away. So we're left with this. And then we have a positive c squared. Move it to the other side, becomes negative c squared. You end up with negative 2c. Divide both sides by negative 2c, and you end up with x by itself. So where the law of cosines comes in is where it's derived from, is we have x, right? All this equals x. So what we can say is the cosine of a is equal to x over b. So I've done that here. Cosine of a is equal to x over b. So we can get x by itself by multiplying both sides by b. We end up with b times the cosine of a is equal to x. And there we go with the substitution. So we can substitute b times the cosine of a for x right there. And we end up with all of this is equal to b times the cosine of a. That's and we're almost through. So we end up taking, so now what we want to do is get a formula like this that we recognize. This is the one I like. This one I've memorized. And sometimes I forget, so it helps to be able to come back to this. We end up with a squared. So all of this, right? We take both sides, multiply both sides by negative 2c. We end up with negative 2c times b times cosine of a, right? By moving that to the top. So this is equal to that now. And then we have a squared. So what we want to do is get a squared by itself. And we're going to take negative b and negative b squared and negative c squared, move them to the other side. We end up with a squared is equal to positive b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine of a. And then if you just shorten that up a little bit, you end up with a. Derive the law of sines. We have a, so sine of a is h over b, right? Sine of a. Sine of b is h over a. So then we can make both of those equal to h, right? Solve for h on each one. And if both of them are equal to h, they're equal to each other. So sine of a times b is equal to sine of b times a. And then we have that there. What we can do is we can divide each side by ab. What you do to each side, it stays balanced that way. And then the b's cancel out on this side and a's cancel out on this side. You end up with sine of a is equal to sine of a is over a is equal to sine of b over b. That's what you end up with there. And then you can do it again. Get rid of that. You know that the sine of c is h over b. The sine of b is h over c. And we do the same exact thing. Solve for h on each one. And then we end up with sine of c times b is equal to the sine of b times c. Divide both sides by bc. And then the b's cancel out here, c's cancel out there. You're left with sine of c over c is equal to sine of b over b. And we already know that sine of b is equal to a. So that sine of b over b is equal to a, sine of a over a. And then that's how you confirm that they're all equal to each other, not just the first half, but that's how you do it. And then let's do, looking at, I'm going to take this one, right, this example, and I think I did it already in Excel. So it'll help to understand how to apply it. So sine of 54, so we're looking, here's the given stuff in black. And we have the opposite side is a. So we have sine of a angle, and we have side a. So sine of a divided by side a will equal this, right? And then the way I did, and we've been through this already, to find the sine of an angle in Excel, you need to type it in just like this. Sine, open, radians, open, put your angle there, and then close will get you the sine of 54.49 degrees. So that divided by the distance, the measurement, and you end up with this. So we know that if that's the case, here we're going to look at sine of b. We already have the measurement, but what we don't have is this sine of b. We have the measurement, we have the dimension. So here we have the dimension, the angle and the dimension. Here we don't have the angle, but we have the dimension. So we know that sine of b, which is here with the unknown, is going to be divided by 20.217 will equal this, right? And they're all going to equal that. If you have sine of c divided by 42, where sine of c over 42 is going to be equal to 0.023, right? So what we do is we're going to put that into formula form. We're going to go arc sine of, if this sine of b is equal to sine of b over this, right here we're going to multiply both sides by 20.216. We're left with sine of b. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 20.2167 times 0.023. And that's what, and then we're going to get the arc sine of that in one step. So arc sine of this times this. Right here we got the arc sine of c is 42 times 0.023. And that's how you get, I did the 0.023, I hold the cell C71, C71, oh no, C72, B72, B72. I use that because it's carried out to more decimal places. Let's see, format cell, increase the decimal places. So there you go. Here I just did it so you could see what it was, how it was being equalized. We're at 12 minutes, a little longer than I wanted, but that's how you apply so in this condition, that's going to show up on one of your tests for sure if you take an FS or PLS. Simple, this is pretty simple, or standard, I should say, question. They're going to ask you what's the angle. Maybe they'll give you 1 and ask for 2. They might give you an angle and a opposite side and ask you for the they're going to ask you for the other angle. So one of the nice things to know about this one here is it's called the ambiguous case for law of sines. So what I've done here is this is 97.501. When you do the math, it comes out to 82.49 or 82.499. But it's 97. So what it's doing is it can't tell you which side of the 90 degrees it's on, right? So it's going to give you the smaller angle, and then you have to subtract 180. So that's what I did here. 180 minus that will give you the 97.5. It's called the ambiguous case. There's lots of videos on it, and really it's not a tutorial on what the law of sines is, but I wanted to show you how to derive it because I hate memorizing stuff, and years later I can come back and I can pull it out of my hat if I know how to derive the formula. So let's get back to, that's it. I'll see you in the next video, video 5. It's just going to be a couple videos on how to apply the law of sines. And I'm sorry, we'll be on how to apply the sine area formula. All right, see you in the next one.